All right, do we have any sovereigns in the house? Oh, good, my slides are up as well. Well, actually, we are all sovereign, okay? We are all sovereign, but you give away your status by agreeing to legal titles. And what I just want to say, first of all, is the government are not sovereign. They cannot be sovereign because they are a legal fiction. They are a registered business. They have a DUNS number, so they cannot be sovereign. Only men and women can be sovereign. Okay, so Sovereign Project. I'm one of the coordinators of the Sovereign Project. I've been with them for about 4 years. I've got a few slides to go through, and I will speak quite fast. I've got a lot of information I want to get out to you. Some quite important information as well, and some of it is going to skew your brains, and I do apologise. So the Sovereign Project, we have got a full understanding of the world of commerce today, and that involves the legal system, law system, legal titles, corporate jurisdiction, taxation, and the monetary system. But before I go on, I just want to say I've got a bit of a disclaimer here. I do not practice law. That means I do not get paid a salary to practice law, okay? I'm here speaking my truth, okay? Everything I say is my own opinion, and it's up to you if you want to listen or not. Okay, so we're here to talk about council tax. So what I'm going to go over slightly is a little bit about notices, why we pay council tax, and what happens when we register. I'm going to talk about the allodial title. These are real. People have them, and I'll talk around that. I'll tell you what I'm doing with the farmers. I'll tell you how we network, and some of the language as well that we're using that actually goes against us. So it's all very, very interesting. So first of all, notices. On our Sovereign Project website, there are a lot of notices on there. We have Chris Coverdale's notice on there. It's awesome. I have used it, or parts of it, and I'll tell you why only parts of it I've used. The other notice we have on there is Pete Stone's one, which talks around the liability order and all the acts and statutes that violate our rights. It's also mentioned as well, there's an amazing one on Richard Vobes' channel that's posted about 8 months ago, where the lady went after, or she went to the council and she asked for the invoice. Yeah? Veronica, that's the one. And then obviously what she'd done as well, I believe, is once she sent her free notices, she got all of her free notices, copy of, and she sent them to their solicitors. And they can't rebut it. It's amazing. It's really, really cool. But what I want to say is about notices, and it comes to the lady that said over there a minute ago, or about 10, 15, half an hour ago, is that she talked around her status correction. But I just want to say quickly, when you create notices, don't just use someone else's template. Okay, because you are the author of your authority, okay? Authority comes from you, and when you lay down your law, your paperwork, you are the author of it. You have to stand upon it. So if you use someone else's templates, you're not authority of it, and you will lose the game. So if everyone here used the same template and it went to the same department, they would go, oh, these guys are bluffing. You're all going to lose. Okay, so if someone gives you a template, make it your own. Change it slightly. Put your heart and soul into it, okay? So just thought I'd touch on that a little bit. And make sure you start to save on your laptop some of the things that can really help you, like the County Courts Act 1984, okay? And this is how I won my battle with a councillor, or not a councillor. Actually, one guy over there said earlier on, who should we send our notices to? I use a 151 officer, and the other one I used to send to is the head of revenues and benefits. And I had the head of revenues and benefits on the phone, and I said to them, if they send me a fake liability order, I will sue them in their own personal name. And I never got anything from them. Brilliant. Okay, so the thing about notices, you have to stand upon it, and you have to follow through. And that means you have to sue them. But once they start to realise they cannot hide behind their corporate fiction, their councils, they are vulnerable. And they start to realise they're vulnerable. And that's when you start to get them. Now, I am a property investor. I'm a landlord. I've got multiple properties. And weirdly, I've never been to their fake court yet. And I want to go to their fake court. I really want to have my day in court so I can obliterate them. And that's one thing we do at the Sovereign Project, is learn about mindset. So important to learn about mindset. If you have the right mindset, they cannot beat you. And you must also realize as well, paperwork is secondary. All right? Mindset first, because you have to stand upon your paperwork to enforce it. And once you learn how to enforce it, you start to play the game. Okay? It's like a game of chess. Always make sure that when you send off a notice, you know what your end goal is. Because if you send off a notice willy-nilly, you don't know what your next steps are. And when they reply back to you, like, oh, what do I do? You know, I'm going to go to an event and ask for help. You need to plan what you're going to do. So what I do is a claim of declaration, for example. So I will send myself a letter. It will go through the postal service. It will return back to me, so it's time-stamped. And then I start sending out my notices. Because if I ever do go to court, I can say to the judge or magistrate, open this envelope. It's got my claim of declaration in there. They won't, because they'll be in contract with me. They lose the game. So it's all about controlling the courtroom if you ever go to court. So it's really, really good stuff that we can start to do here. Right, okay, so I'm going to move on to registration. If I can learn to keep the mic near my mouth. Now, what I'm just going to do, I know you guys can't see this, so I'm just going to read this out. So one of the big problems we have, and I'm doing a lot of work with farmers at the moment, the biggest problem we have is registration. When you register anything, you give away power of attorney. So I'm just going to read this out for people that can't see. The act of registering anything with the corporation called a government transfers property ownership, so ship, big word there, to that corporation, leaving you with nothing more than just owner rights. So how does that work? And this is how it works. Now, our legal system, what language is it? Please shout it out. Legalese. What else? What language? What part of the world does it come from? Good dog Latin. Yes, that's very good. So it is Latin. Latin is a language of administration. That's why it's called the Prime Minister, because he's administrating the Latin. So when you receive anything in capital letters, that is Latin, okay? So when you buy a property and you register it with Land Registry, there's a word called real estate. What does real estate mean in Latin? Right. So when you register a property with Land Registry, you're registering on royal status. Wow. Okay. So when you register on royal status, you're registering on the king's estate, the king's land. But there's a problem. There's a problem. The king doesn't own the land. He can't do that because it goes against God, and they're very, very religious. Once you really start to dig deep into the system, you start to see this. So what the king does, he surveys the land. Right? And that's why they call it the UK. The UK is a corporate jurisdiction, and you register upon that. Okay, so what you've done, if I've got this red mat here, I've just now registered on their corporate jurisdiction. I've given away all my rights of property. Guess what? You don't own it, because it's a title. It's not a deed. You need a deed backed up by an affidavit to have physical ownership of your property. And this is why farmers are losing out massively, and this is why they're going to be paying inheritance tax, and this is why Rachel Reeves would be doing a massive land grab. Okay? So we need to start to understand what is going on here. Now, as a property investor, I know that if I buy a property, there's a thing called fee simple. Anyone heard of fee simple? Yeah, it means there's fees to pay on the land because you've registered on the corporate jurisdiction of the monarchy. You've now got taxes to pay. Okay, and they tell you again, tenure. What does tenure mean? It means you can hold something. So as a property investor, I buy a property thinking I own it. No, they give me tenure, means I can hold it. They tell you again by giving you freehold. Ooh, freehold, that's not ownership. So I've got property investors that I know. Yeah, I've got freehold. Yeah, no, you don't own it. Okay, freehold. So what does leasehold mean? Leasehold means it's time sensitive. You can only hold the title for so long before it goes back to the monarchy. So, for example, to make it really clear, if I die tomorrow with no will and no family or friends around me who can take the property, where does the property go? It goes back to the crown. Why? Because you've registered it on their corporate jurisdiction. Okay? Everyone get that? Yeah. Excellent. So, when you register anything, you give away the equitable right. That's the value of the property. When you register anything, you give away the controlling interest. So, for example, it's related to farmers. If you register your cattle, you're told what stud bull you have to buy to bring in to mate with certain cows. You're told what to inject your cows with. You're told how much you can sell the milk for. You're controlled within rules and regulations because you've registered into a corporate jurisdiction, a contract, and you no longer have the controlling interest. So farmers are told what they can and cannot do. Same with growing vegetables. They've got to spray this, they've got to spray that. They're controlled by mega corporations on what they can and cannot do. But there's no law that says you have to register anything. But through government fear, they try to force you. Now, this is a word you've got to start to learn now. So, for example, if Keir Starmer is here today and he said to me, Cole, I force you to do this, this, and this each month. He can't force anything upon me. But what they can try and do is enforce. You've got to really look at the language now. Enforce means they can enforce it if you're in contract. All right? That's why they use the word enforce, because apparently they believe they're in contract with you. Anything with the word force in, no one can force anything upon you. It's all in the language. All in the language. So, giving away the equitable right, the value, giving away the controlling interest. Everything with property, you just have user rights. Okay, this is why you got asked for planning permission if you want to extend on your property, because you're asking a higher authority if you can do anything on that corporate jurisdiction, because it's not your land no more. Okay, simple. Well, it's kind of simple, and I'm trying to say it the most simplest way, right? So we all kind of get it. We all kind of get it. Right. Next part then. I would go into titles and deeds and the difference. So we've got a course that we do at the Sovereign Project, and Pete has very kindly sent me all the raw data for the difference between deeds and titles, which will take me ages to go through. But once you start to understand the difference between a title and a deed, you start to see the Achilles heel in the system, and you start to see how you can get back your property. And there's a lady here who's deregistered her car, and you can understand how you can get your car back, and all your other properties that you register, like your dog. Hopefully you've not registered your dog, because otherwise you give away power of attorney, and they can put it down at any time, just like your chickens. Bird flu, for example. So if you've got chickens, you register them, government can come in, or the council come in and say, right, it's bird flu, we need to cull all your chickens. All right? Another example, Heathrow Airport is expanding, runway 3. So all those houses in that area are going to get flattened. So the government can legally flatten the houses. All right, they get compensated. But what they can't do is if they had the allodial title, which I'll talk about in a moment, it would be unlawful for the government to flatten said houses. Okay? So, it's gone. Okay, so let's just go on to the allodial title. Hopefully the screen will come back to some stuff in the other show. But allodial title, first thing, have to be mindset. You have to get your mindset right to be able to push through this paperwork to make it work. If you want everything back, if you want to stop paying council tax, if you want to stop wasting our bloody time, even though I actually enjoy doing this, by the way, if you want to stop wasting your time with fighting the councils, right, you have to control your estate. Okay, the allodial title means true ownership of land and property, and there is no third party, superior landlord that has authority over you. Within an allodial title, you have all titles, licenses, titles, everything that goes with it. You are the author of the law within your estate. And this is now, very luckily, we have men and women who already had these in place. We've had farmers approach us, and we've been working with farmers for over a year now, and farmers are more advanced than me, on getting controlling their estate. So this isn't just hearsay. This isn't just me saying this, thinking it might happen in the near future. It's already flipping happened. So that's very powerful. Very powerful. Once you realise how powerful an allodial title is. So the next question you probably say is, well, Carl, how do I get one? Okay, so first of all, you've got this mindset. You've then got to learn it. Okay, you if you want to be author of this paperwork, you have to learn what a allodial title is and how you get it put in place. All right. So we can't do it for you. All right. But what we can do, we can kind of help you on your way. We can kind of facilitate that learning for you. Now, to get a allodial title, there's quite a bit to it. First one, you have to have your own flag. Now, this is what farmers are doing wrong when they protest in London. They're flying the Union Jack flag, which is a UK corporation. If you fly the Union Jack flag, you now agree to the terms and conditions within that corporation. You've lost the game. Okay, so we're trying to help them on that, but they don't like to learn, unfortunately. And if there is any farmers in the room today, I'd love to speak to you. And I did see one lady over there with the red hair. I'd love to speak to you because I know you've got a farm. I saw the badge. So it'd be great to have a conversation with you. So that's if you want to anyway. You don't have to. So what you also need is your flag. Now, someone mentioned diplomatic immunity. That's basically what it gives you. Once you have your own flag, once you have your own court seals, once you have your coat of arms, I can't stress how powerful this is. Now, if you know what a coat of arms is, you could go anywhere in a city and you start to see the symbolism of coat of arms everywhere. On statues, outside courts, on big buildings, on big gates. Coat of arms are everywhere, but most people just do not see it. And I think the lady that's deregistered her car, I did kind of think I saw it a little bit. You got a coat of arms on your registration plate? Yes. Well done. Excellent. Really, really powerful, because what a coat of arms is, that's your court. Okay? That's your dominion. You're above the courts in this country. The court is actually in the lowest jurisdiction it can be. The government is in the lowest jurisdiction it can be. The council is in the lowest jurisdiction it can be. And so are most of you lot if you agree to legal titles like surname, citizen, community, society, Mr. Mr. is the lowest ranking officer in the army. Mr. can't speak to the general. Okay, so if you agree to the legal title Mr., you've lost the game. If you agree to the word citizen, unfortunately, it's been mentioned quite a lot today, you lose the game, because citizen, this is now syntax morphology, you now have to learn what these words mean, because they go back in time for a long, long time, unfortunately. So citizen, break the word in two, C-I-T-I, means that you agree to the rules and regulations within that state. Okay, their state, estate, their corporate jurisdiction. If you agree to being in that estate, you've lowered your status. I'm lowered my status. I have no rights. I have no voice. The last bit of citizen is Zen. Zen is within inside yourself. Okay. If you're inside yourself, you can't think outside the box. If you can't think outside the box, they class you as a simpleton, which means you need to be governed and taxed. And anyone that votes, you mark an X in the box. The reason why you put an X in the box is because you've just admitted you're a simpleton, and now you need to be governed and taxed. That's what it means. And also as well, I just want to say, when you vote in a polling station, it's an opinion poll. You're not voting in an election polling station. It's a opinion poll. So you're just giving your opinion. That's it. It's crazy once you sort of really start to nail down and learn this stuff. It really is. It's insane. It's insane. So let's get back to it. So coat of arms. Once you've done that, you then do your property deeds. Okay, and this is where your paperwork must be so strong. Status correction, lady over there. What I wanted to say earlier, but I didn't, just thought wait till now, is there's nothing wrong with your status. Nothing wrong with your status. You don't need to change your status. But what you need to do is you can take control of your surname. All right? That's not yours, by the way. Now, what you need to, this is what I've done, and this is what many other people are doing as well, you do a proof of life. So I've done my proof of life, and this is how I won a battle with head of revenues and benefits for council tax, because she tried to call me Mr. all the bloody time. So I sent her my proof of life document, which was signed by a very high GP, and it was notarized by a notary of the public and stamped and authenticated, which cannot be rebutted. So when I back that up with my affidavit of fact, the council is checkmate. They cannot tax the living man or woman. They can only tax the person. And so if you look at your council tax bill, they will determine you're a person. You lose all of your rights because a person has no rights. And people was mentioned earlier as well by a lady over here. People means chattel. Okay, so if you're a farmer, you know that chattel means cattle. This means that they can do whatever they like. Okay, so sometimes you've got to be careful with the word person, and I refer to the peacekeeper guy here. And I do agree with you as well that when you go into court, you want to be speaking the same language with a judge. But most courts, well, all courts, they use Black's Law Dictionary, and we like to use Oxford English Dictionary. So you do have to be careful when you go into court sometimes, and I'll take questions in a minute, mate, when you go into court, because they will use a different language against you. Okay, but you have to go to the origin of said word, which could go back to, I don't know, 400 AD or 14, let me get my years wrong now, but the 1400s when Roman civil procedure codes were actually created. So you have to be very careful on the language we use, but really only a sovereign can create a lordly title, and it cannot be granted to you. So we will help you, show you how you create all of your paperwork and titles, your lordly title, okay? I cannot create it for you. You create it, you create a coat of arms, you create your flags, but we will assist you in putting this package together. It's the only way out, because you need to control your estate, because once you control your estate with your lordly title, no one has authority over your land and over you. Okay, it's the only way of getting out of it.
Probably a couple more minutes and then some questions. Thanks.
No worries. So, just going back to the farmers quickly. So, because they register everything, the way it kind of works is that you have a property title. Okay, that title is linked to the address. The address you do not control. Okay, so if you look at the rich bankers, the MPs, or whatever it may be, they don't have a letterbox. Why? Because what they do, they have their jurisdiction, their estate, and they put the letterbox on the outside of their estate. That's the address. Their property will have a different name. Okay? So, for example, with us, what I would do, if I was number 26 Bond Street, and I was doing what we're doing, the letterbox goes on the outside of my estate. So if a bailiff comes over and says, right, we've come here to look at the property, I'll just open up the post box and go, there you go, do you want to look inside? Okay? But then my actual house would have a name and not a number. Okay? Now, going back to the address, you can't change it. So 26 Bond Street, if you wake up one day and say to the council, I want to change the number, I want to be something cool, I want to be 007 Bond Street, right? You can't do it. It's not yours. It's not your address. Okay, so that's why you create your property deeds. You create your property name. Okay, coat of arms, flags. You have a laudial title. You have all control. That's what you need to do. Now, okay, we got the thing back. Didn't realise that. So I'll skip a few slides. We've gone through quite. This is the big one. Right, tax. Now, tax is going up. Rachel Reeves is going mental, right? We know that. New taxes coming all the time. Why is it happening? National debt. Okay, this is where you need to start to learn about the monetary system, what's truly happening with our banks. Now, derivatives. This is a big thing and it's huge. It's out of control almost, okay? It's getting to the stage where they can no longer keep paying off the national debt or the interest on it. And that's why they can keep taxing you to serve that debt. Now, most of you in the room will know that there is a new banking system that's going alongside our banking system, called central bank digital currency. But I'm not here to talk about that today. But I also do a show as well called the Money Masterclass. So if you ever join the Sovereign Project, you will see me, and I bring in loads of amazing guests, and we talk around the monetary system. So it gives our sovereigns every bit of information they need to protect their wealth, their health, and their property and their rights. When I said that the team have full knowledge of commerce, the law, legal system, I'm still getting my stripes. But I'm happy enough to come out and talk and promote what we do and network, because that's basically what I do. I network as much as possible to give everyone the opportunity, especially farmers, because I want to help farmers. So a lot of the work that I do is with farmers to support them as much as possible. But yes, fire away with any questions.
Yeah, I've got to sort out a will. Now, I was reading your book about the Sovereign Project. I was thinking, should I do this within the system, sort out the will, and then try to get into a trust after I've done it? Or should I try to do it through your system somehow? The sovereign... Okay,
so it'd be your system, all right? Not the sovereign system as such. Now, wills, that can be quite tricky. Yeah. So what I probably advise you is, and we'll probably have a separate conversation, is what's your roadmap? What you're looking to achieve long term? Because we just talk about the short term now to try and get it in the right place.
Yeah, sure.
But it's your long term goals on what you want to do with the will, what you want to do with the trust, and what you want to do with the money inside the trust.
Right. Well,
it's a big question.
It is a big question.
Yeah. But we're chat anyway, because I've met you once or twice before.
Thanks.
So.
Any other questions? Lady here.
Looking at the monetary system at the moment.
Yes.
Would you advise precious metals or crypto?
Okay, so precious metals, I love buying gold. Okay, so at the Sovereign Project, we've got 2 gold bullion suppliers, and you can buy through them. They are amazing. You've got Nick, who is Gold Bullion Partners, and Chris at Knights Gold, I believe they're called. Awesome. Yes. Knights Bullion, sorry. So they are awesome. Yes, I can't advise you, but
Crypto,
I buy gold. So crypto, so there's a difference between crypto and Bitcoin. Okay,
Yeah.
massive difference between the two. So crypto... Yeah, sure, absolutely. Well, I'll speak to you downstairs because it's a very good question.
You can always catch up because they are. I mean, we're opening up now. Any more questions on title, council tax? Yeah, one over here.
I've just got a question on council tax because, of course, I live in London and now they're all getting very wise and so they don't send you anything. You have to do everything online. So now I don't get any paper bills, and despite having asked for a paper bill, they haven't sent me one. So how do you get, because I want to use the bill of exchange or whatever, do something, but I have got no paper to write it on because I have not got a bill.
Well, you can still serve notice on them.
Oh, good.
So don't forget, court, it's not a magistrate's court because they've put the word magistrate in front of it. So court is your paperwork. All right? So if you want to challenge anything, this is where your paperwork has got to be super clean and brilliant, right? And we'll have a chat downstairs, so I'll give you a bit of information. But if you write down your information on your notice, that's court. That's your paperwork. So if you get challenged at a later stage, you can say, right, well, here's all my paperwork. I've served 3 notices. I've done X, Y, and Z. I've asked for X, Y, and Z, and they've not done anything. So as far as I'm concerned, because my notice says I will give you 30 days to reply. If they don't reply, they agree to everything in my notice. A notice is a legally binding document, all right?
Thank you.
No. Never email, never text, never do phone calls, because that's secondary evidence. And with an email, if I email you, you can get that email, press forward and edit it and change the words. Psh, never email.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Karl. Big round of applause.